I am a grown adult.
Mm-hmm.
Got out of bed this morning and went and played
Okay.
Call of Duty.
Nice. Right.
Okay.
How was
Yeah.
it?
It
Well, it must have been similar to the beta, I guess.
is very
But,
sity. I mean, it's fine.
yeah.
They've made some good improvements from the beta. It's not perfect. There's still
What
some.
do you do when you play straight up Call of Duty? What do you?
I just play deathmatch, team deathmatch,
Yeah.
TDM,
Mm-hmm.
and they made some good improvements. They fixed some of the audio, so that's a big improvement. There's definitely some bugs. The game likes to crash, but
The game likes to crash. What is it? Wow.
yeah. So I don't know. I can't remember the last time I did that because I think I'm just so happy to be done with Vanguard and the World War II stuff. Like they can put that genre to bed for about 80 years, and then
Yeah, that one's weird for me because I actually always liked the World War II stuff, but I have to really. I'm just trying to think back. I don't think I. No, I'm positive. I've never played a game as little as that one in that series.
Mm-hmm.
I tried. Even Modern Warfare, the remake, and the Black Ops Cold War game, which I had very great difficulty with because of the lag and stuff. I played more
Yeah,
in
no,
this
it's
game.
just.
In fact, I really gave it a go with Modern Warfare.
I feel like we've talked about Vanguard enough. I want to be done with it. I want to move
Fair
on.
enough.
My life is better without it.
No.
So I'll be playing that some today. And we had earnings yesterday from just a
Oh my God.
smattering, but it was more of a smattering of into a brick wall sort of thing.
I because of our schedules, Laurent, we have Laurent writes news for us, and but he lives in Europe, and so he works what I think is pretty late for him. But because I write earnings anyway. Earnings is kind of my thing, and then they happen late in the day here, which is night for him. So of course I end up writing this stuff, and the last 2 days have been like a hammer. Because these things, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Apple, Intel, Spotify, not as big of a deal, but all those things. And so what's your hot take on?
Well, I mean,
Intel
Intel is in a real precarious position because we all know was it 15% OEM revenue decline Microsoft reported 2 days ago, which really just means Intel's going to be in for a tough time because that's part of their portfolio.
Over 50% of their revenue. Yeah,
they're also in this transition period. They're also dumping billions of dollars not into the metaverse but into new factories. And so that one was...
by the way, that's an interesting comparison.
Yeah.
We're both dumping billions of dollars into something. We're building something real that no one may need, and you're building something fake that nobody wants.
Maybe one day I can drive up once it's done. I can go do a podcast outside the Intel factory before they arrest me. Because they're building it. It's like probably 90 minutes, 2 hours for me. So
yeah, it will be... It's like the next version of a Detroit automaker factory or something. We had such high dreams. Anyway.
Yeah. Apple's stuff was Apple just kind of does what Apple does. Like that's.
By the way, I'm not going to read it. I don't want to, but please do read the quote delivered by Tim Cook with this month's quarterly earnings. It is, even in his world, the biggest bunch of nonsense ever committed to someone's mouth I've ever seen.
This quarter's results reflects Amazon's commitment to our customers, to the pursuit of innovation, and to leaving the world better than we found it. Wow.
No, it just keeps going, dude. It's crazy. It has nothing to do with anything. It's nonsense. It is.
Yeah, that's gross. Like if you go,
it's exactly gross. It's the whole thing's gross. Yep. I've never. Well, look. I don't know. I mean, as a CEO, you whatever. But there's no precedent for this. It's crazy how nonsense that is.
Yeah. They had a good quarter. I mean, that's just kind of.
They sure did.
And they were one of the few that really did have a good quarter. I mean, good across most metrics, I should say.
Yeah. Yep. Actually, I would say across all metrics.
Yeah.
Well, okay. 2 asterisks. One of which is perfectly fine. The iPad was down, but the iPad was refreshed after the quarter ended, right? So, okay, no problem. That's a wash. It's fine. Services grew very slowly. Services has been Apple's fastest growing business for a long time. It became Apple's second biggest business. I guess it had to slow down. they claim contrary to what I'm about to say, but I think those recent price hikes might be related.
Yeah.
The fact that those things aren't going as gangbusters anymore. So we'll see what they do on that end. I think you can make a case for Apple TV being more expensive because, as they do say, they have more high quality content now. I mean, at the beginning there wasn't much there. Okay, but Apple Music, and the other stuff, it's inexcusable to me. But they're doing great. There's no other way to say it. So nothing to complain about there.
I wonder how many iPhones they're going to sell next year, because when they supposedly are... so it's interesting, because if you go back and watch that commentary, he doesn't actually say they're going to USB-C next year, but we know they have to eventually.
Okay, so I have something to add about this topic, which I don't mean to put a dark cloud over everyone's head, but this morning I'm going through my newsfeed. You ever find yourself doing this? Like you're really heavily involved in the tech industry, and then you start telling your wife stuff about it, and she doesn't give a crap about this stuff at all, So I've been trying really hard not to do that. But I read the news, and I exclaimed out. I said something. I don't remember what I said, but I exclaimed something. And my wife said, "What?" And I said, you don't care. This is tech related. I'm sorry. It's not, you will not care about this topic. But what I saw was a headline that said, Greg Figuerini said, we were forced to go to USB-C. Like, this is something they would never have done, even though they're doing it everywhere else in their product lines. And what I realized right then was Apple's going to bring USB-C to iPhone next year with USB 2 speeds. It's going to be 480 megabits per second, not 5 or whatever the numbers are, like these huge transfer speeds, which is what it needs for these raw movies or whatever they call them, the ProRAW, whatever the hell it's called. ProRes, right? So that went through my brain. And I'm scrolling down the thing further. Then I see another story. It says the 10th generation iPad has a major limitation compared to all other iPads. I'm like, oh, what's this? So it's like, yeah, they went to USB-C, but they kept the same transfer speeds as the Lightning port on the previous gen model, which is 480 megabits per second. And it was like it had confirmed my previous thought, right? Now, how bitter can Apple be about things? I mean, probably bitter enough to do something like that. But then I had the further thought that I'll qualify it. I wouldn't be surprised if they saddled non-Pro models with the slower speed, right? And then gave Pro models the something faster, because my God, how could you do that to that market? That doesn't make any sense.
Oh, I'll tell you what they'll do. I think they'll come out next year and be, look, we went USB-C and everything will have slower speeds. And then the following year, it will be the Pro models have.
But you understand. So anyone who follows Apple understands what I just said is a distinct possibility.
Yeah.
It's not the fever dream of an idiot. It's because it doesn't logically make any sense. But this is the type of thing they do. And they get really, it's almost like we're going to lash out at the European Union, and the way we're going to do it is by attacking our own customers. It's like those people that are like throwing paint at like classic paintings in museums because they're upset about the climate. Would you go after the people that are perpetrating the crime, please?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Anyway, I thought that was anyway, that's my evil thought of the day. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Oh, that's right. That is Monday. That is Monday. It's supposed to, I think, rain or something here because you're coming home. I told Paul, I can't remember if he was on the podcast or not, but when he goes to Mexico, weather around here usually gets way better. I don't know why.
Well, listen, I am hoping. Well, no, I'm not hoping. I'm sorry. Should my dog pass away,
my God,
we would spend maybe a month or two here in the winter, and you could be facing the best winter you've ever had.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. One other minor thing on the end of the podcast here. Joe Buffiore said that he's retiring from Microsoft after 30 plus years, but he's staying on until what sounds like the end of the fiscal year, which will be June 30th.
Yeah. Just enough time for the Surface Group to have a mock funeral for the MacBook.
Wow.
Yeah. Too soon?